on the road.
You guys are up?
It's OU in Texas, and the question everybody wants an answer to is Dylan Gabriel going to play the center? Al Eschbach and Jim Traber here, the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas. The Sooners and the Longhorns hook up at 11 o'clock today. And, Jim, I don't ever remember an OU-Texas game when there's been such a mystery and such a big part of this game about a player, whether he's going to play or not, Dylan Gabriel.
Well, the most important position on the field, too. You're right. No, I haven't been coming as many of you as long as you have, but I've never seen anything like it in this game, and it just adds to the intrigue, doesn't it?
Well, and you may tell people where we're exactly out here in the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah, if you're driving around listening to the app or anything like that, we are south of the Ferris wheel. You can't miss the big old Ferris. Just walk to the Ferris wheel and then walk kind of southwesty, and we're right over here. It's a great spot. We got a lot of room for people to come and listen to the show and enjoy us. Also, don't forget that we're on YouTube TV. We're on our app. We're at thesportsanimal.com, so you can watch it, and you can actually put some feedback questions on there, too. So we got it every way you want to get involved in the show today. And I will say this, Al. Of all the years that you and I have been coming down here, it was the best ever.
It was unbelievable. It was amazing.
Was that beautiful or
it
what?
Was, no, usually, and you talked your way into the thing. You screwed up, and you talked your way into the thing.
I did.
mean,
You got
that was
to.
beautiful. That was beautiful.
You know what I said, Matt Meyer? I went the wrong way, kind of, and they there's the best way to get something is just show stupidity. And that's what I did. I said, oh, no, I don't know what I'm doing here. Is that gate 10?
And we got to be on the air in 15
10.
minutes.
That's
We
right.
got to be on in 15 minutes.
That's exactly. It was actually a half hour, but
Yeah.
anyway. And the guy was like, "Oh, you're the media? Yeah, come on!" They went right in. It was beautiful, just beautiful.
Yeah, it was. Didn't even wait in line with all the other cars.
No, other people lined up. We went right around them. I wonder if I should try that again next year.
That was
But no, that was
perfect.
good. So yeah, we got here nicely, and yeah, our new place is beautiful. It really is.
Absolutely.
A bunch of trees and everything.
Beautiful day. I mean, it's a perfect day.
You
today
can't ask for a
football.
better
I
day.
mean,
You're right.
It's unbelievable. And so a lot of intrigue about this game. My gosh, the Gabriel thing is, like I said, Monday, Bevel took every snap with the first team. That was on Monday. And Monday, Gabriel was out there. He was not in uniform. Tuesday and Wednesday, he was out in pads. So
Yeah, no, you've been talking about that, and it's crazy because we're getting sources on both sides that are saying he is playing, he isn't playing.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll find out in a few hours. He'll run out on the field and see if he plays, right?
it's going to be interesting if they have him out there and he doesn't play.
Yeah, that I don't
You think they do that?
know. That's a good question.
Lincoln Riley would.
No, you're right.
He did it with C.D. Lamb.
You're
Remember
right, he
against Baylor?
He did do it with C.D. Lamb. You're right. But, yeah, I would think that if he's out there in uniform, he's playing. That would be my guess. And if he's not, then he's not. So.
It's a tale of Oklahoma playing so badly against Kansas State. At least the offense was good. Last week it was just horrific performance on both sides of the ball.
Everything. You're right. The whole daggone team just didn't play well.
Jim, they haven't lost 3 straight games since 1998.
I know that. Man.
John Blake was
Great.
coach.
Let me ask you a question. When they lost to Iowa State 2 years ago in Kansas State, was their next game against Texas?
It was, Matt, wasn't it?
I believe that's right. I'll
Yeah,
double
it
check,
was.
but I believe that's right.
And they went down there and they won the game. Came down here and won the game.
Yes, they lost to K-State, Iowa State, and then beat Texas in 4 overtimes.
Oh, my gosh.
That was the COVID year.
Didn't lose the rest of the year.
That's right. That was COVID.
Spencer Rattler.
Man. And this is the game where Rattler, he took him out of the game and said, dude, you're stinking it up.
That's exactly right.
And then from that point on, he played
had
great.
a great year. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
And that's why everybody thought he was going to be so highly.
And then last year they took him out of the game and he never played again.
Boy, I'll tell you. Yeah, this is a weird spot for Spencer Rattler. isn't it?
Absolutely.
It really is. Yeah, he's been taken out of the games twice here. One of them worked out great. The other one obviously was bad. So. But yeah, this is I'm really proud of the OU fans. I went to the doctor the other day, and I came out of the deal, and a friend, your friend and my friend, Scotty Ward, was outside waiting on his wife. And I said, "You going to the game?" He goes, "Nope," because I gave my tickets to my kids. And he's got a house up there in Grand Lake, and I guess McCurdy and Toby Keith, they all live up there. And I don't, some of those, I don't know if they're coming to the game. And I said, well, geez, I said to myself as I got in my car, I said, wow, those are huge OU fans. If they're not coming to this game, I wonder what's going to happen. But I was very surprised and happily surprised about the turnout we had yesterday, Al.
Yeah. The fans, there's obviously, I don't think a lot of optimism here. When's the last time you've been underdog in this game? It's been a while.
Probably 2009.
Is that right? 2009?
I'm guessing.
Well, yeah,
2009.
Bradford was hurt in that game. Remember, came into the game hurt. Same injury that Ewers has.
Oklahoma had lost a couple games that year.
They lost to BYU.
BYU and Miami lost the game down in Coral Gables.
And the BYU game, of course, was in Jerry's world, right?
No, that was BYU. Yeah, BYU.
Yes.
Was. Yeah.
I remember we were at that
Correct.
game, and he got hurt.
Yep.
We were like, there goes the season. And frankly, that was the season.
And then he tried to play against Texas and got hurt. Didn't play the rest
By
of
the way,
year.
they can interact with us as they're watching online. And somebody just asked a question: if you and I were going to ride the Ferris wheel.
We might do a segment on it. Get up there, stay up on top.
Then I'll be right here. You can go ahead. I'll watch you up there.
We were wondering why people come out here so early.
It is definitely 2009. 2009, it was +3. 2006,
13 years ago.
+3.
Think about that. 13 years ago.
2005, Al. OU was a 14-point under.
Vince Young.
Yeah, and they covered, right? Texas blew them out, didn't they?
Yeah.
What was that, Matt? 45-13, or do you remember?
In 2005, I think it was like 45-12, something like that.
Yeah.
They rocked Rhett Bomar's world that day. He got beat up.
That was their national championship year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Vince Young.
That was the game that Peterson tried to come back, and then he couldn't go, and Oklahoma had no shot that day.
Vince Young, he's the best quarterback in the history of the school, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Even close? Is
I
McCoy second?
no.
Maybe
Bobby
Lane.
Okay.
I mean, Bobby Lane's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Now, if you're just talking about college, I mean, all respect to Bobby Lane, but, man, Vince Young was something else.
I still argue that might have been the best year of a quarterback.
I
ever.
agree. I agree.
Tebow had an unbelievable one.
Well,
that
Kyler
year.
Murray did.
Kyler Murray was unbelievable. And then I still believe, and I know that this is OU fans don't like to hear it, I think Barry Sanders' year is the greatest of anybody.
Yeah, I think as a running back.
Well, I mean, 34 NCAA records. I don't care who you're a fan of.
Yeah, that's ridiculous that year. But and then the greatest year in OU history, probably what running back had the greatest year in OU history? Al? Billy Sims, did he have a year? Who was it? Peterson.
Gosh, who holds the record for the?
Yeah, what's the yardage in one season, Matt?
Peterson's freshman year, didn't he have like 1,900 yards?
Yes.
Did he really?
Yes.
That's unbelievable.
Well,
and that was an 11-game regular season, I
He finished in
believe.
the top 5 in the Heisman that year.
He might have been the runner-up. Leinart won it that year.
Leinart won it that year, and then Jason was in the top 5 also.
Right.
They both were in the top 5. So
you know what that says, fellas? I don't care how old you are. If you can play, you can play. We keep
Yes,
talking about these
without a
young
doubt.
kids. Got to give them time and stuff. You bring in big-time players, they can play right.
Well, that's why that 2004 Oklahoma team was a great team. You had Jason, had all those guys, and then you had Adrian Peterson, a freshman running back.
It's what they didn't have the year before. Now, I know the Orange Bowl didn't go very well, but the year before, nothing against Keywan Jones or Ronaldo Works, but they weren't Adrian Peterson.
They weren't Adrian Peterson, and they weren't Quentin Griffin.
Now, I'll also say that 04 team lost several really good defensive players from the year before. Layman Strait, Harris, Dvorak, wasn't on that team because he had, had the problem.
But they had Cody and those guys that were pretty.
No, they still had several good players, yeah.
So, and a lot, I took load plays out. They said a lot of them were just looking to the NFL. And everything.
We
checked out.
It's interesting. We've talked about that over the years about teams and when you got a bunch of guys that are that are eligible. You just don't know what their mindset's going to be, Al.
No, you don't. And it's going to be interesting, the mindset here with Ewers. Had played one game, was so-so, and then against Alabama, he was brilliant in one quarter.
Well, like I've said, and I know OU fans don't want to hear this, but either Ewers or Arch Manning is going to be a star. I mean, the chances of neither one of them being really, really good are minute.
Right.
So over the next 3 years or 4 years, they're going to have a quarterback, it looks like, in Texas.
Well, and they got Jackson Arnold, who some think are better than Arch Manning.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They got a.
That's why Jackson Arnold has got to be good as advertised.
Absolutely.
It's really, really
Absolutely.
big.
You got to be good at quarterback.
You got to be. Yeah. We talk about these schools. Now, Georgia was just I don't know. I mean, the Stetson Bennett kid's a nice player. I don't think, truthfully, I don't think Stetson Bennett is a lot better than Dylan Gabriel.
No.
I really don't.
No.
But that defense and all those dudes they got, I was looking at the draft for next year in the NFL. Georgia's got 3 dudes from defense in the first round again. 3 of them. Is that unbelievable?
It is unbelievable. I mean, it is.
How are they getting all those kids? Kirby's smart.
Because they're in Georgia. They got great high school football in Georgia.
No, you're right.
I mean, I remember when Cale Gundy told me one year, just in Atlanta, he said, we went up to 35 kids. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that's why that job should have been better all these years than it's been.
Well, you're right. And if a kid grows up in your state and is a fan of the team and becomes a big-time football player, obviously your chances are a lot better to get it. And that's what you and I talked about yesterday. If people didn't hear us, Oklahoma has got to go back to dominating this state. They got to. They lost those defensive backs to Michigan. They lost a kid to Ohio State. They lost some. They've lost a couple to OSU. The wide receiver Chetron. And even though we don't know if I believe you. I don't think they offered him, but the Daniels kid at OSU.
Yeah, I mean, and Daniels, I remember I read the paper. He was really puzzled why OU didn't offer him.
Yeah.
Really puzzled.
And he looks really good.
You got it, yeah.
He's one of those guys. You said it yesterday. You're exactly right. Barry Switzer would take a kid and figure out a place to play.
Yeah.
And that Daniels is the perfect guy for that, is he not?
Absolutely he is.
And if he wants to play a position, tell him, yeah, you'll play there. But once he gets here, we think you need here.
And that's what Switzer did all the time.
Yeah. Now Switzer didn't have the portal, and he didn't have NIL and stuff, so it was a little bit harder. But I think that the recruiting situation, I'm going to be really interested as this season goes along now if OU is going to be able to keep some of these great guys.
That's the key. Right now they're number 6 in Rivals in recruiting. That is the huge key. And we'll talk too. I mean, that the 3-man front they use has been ineffective. I mean, it's been totally ineffective.
Yeah, I just don't know why. I understand his philosophy. People say 3-man front. What they do is there is a 4th guy, but they drop him back, and then they're rushing 3. Well, when you rush 3, you got to have like a Gerald McCoy and people like that if you're going to get there with 3, right?
Yeah, you're or Jalen Redmond outside, not inside. I mean, we talk about Reggie Grimes and Ethan Downs. They're more speed rush ends. I mean, I think you brought that up, and I think you're right on the money. I think these dudes, you look at the guys in the NFL, Al, that rush from the outside, they line up way outside. You know what I'm saying? They want that tackle who's 350 pounds to have to really move his feet to get to you. But you don't see that here with OU. When do their people line up way outside? No.
To get a speed rush,
No. They got those 3 guys up there and no pass rush. They haven't touched a quarterback the last 2 games. And if you give Hugh his time, he's going to pick them apart.
You're right.
What's happened to Reggie Grimes?
Yeah, we talked about it. We don't know.
I can tell you what. He's a speed rushing. They were playing a 4-man front those first 2 games is what happened. So now he's not one of those guys, a big, strong guy that's just going to bowl people over.
Right. Well, and I will say this too, Matt. Brent Venables is going to bring in people that are going to fit his defense. And remember, none of these dudes are guys that he brought in. So, and I'm not making excuses. I'm just letting you know he's got to get some of those players that he had at Clemson. And if he gets those players, then I think we'll see some better defense. But You know, we talked about this if people didn't hear us last night with Barry Trammell, this will be the first time in the history of me doing, that's not right. Forget the 90s. How about this? This will be the first time in the history of me and you doing radio since Bob Stoops has stepped on the campus that I would say there's a possibility for a moral victory.
Yeah, I mean,
just play well.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, they were so bad last week. I mean, just I'm not going to say historically bad, but it almost is historically bad how bad they were on both sides of the ball.
Well, the truth of the matter is they could have given up 800 yards and about 60 points.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Against a team that struggled to beat SMU.
Yeah. No, I mean, Al, you're right. I mean, you can call it historic.
And we've seen Mac Duggan play before. No, you shut him down.
You know what's interesting, Al? We talked about this. In the past, OU has such great quarterback play and offensive play that the OU fans are used to winning when you give up 40 points,
You're right?
And if the offense would have done well against TCU, I'm telling you, there'd have been 60 points scored by TCU. They just took the foot off the gas. So that's just, even though
I think that's also why people were so upset with the offense after the K-State game, even though the majority of the blame, in my opinion, should have gone on the defense because people are used to seeing OU win 48-45. So if they don't outscore somebody, what's wrong with the offense? Well, against K-State, the offense, I'm not saying they were perfect. We talked about this.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they were great, but they were damn sure better than that defense against K-State.
34 points and 550 yards, you should be able to
You should win a game.
Right? I mean, come on. But we've seen so many times Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts pulling them out of the fire, right, Al?
And now today, if Dylan Gabriel, you got problems.
No, you're right. You're right. It's going to be interesting to see what we say after this game because I will be really, really disappointed with Jeff Levy and this coaching staff if they don't pull out a bunch of stuff.
You have to. Yeah.
You got to. You can't just go in and say we're going to do this. So it's going to be fun to watch. And we've never seen Jeff Levy up close, right? We don't know him.
Nope.
We know what Baylor and Mississippi did well, but we don't know what he's like. Does he like to do that? He's an offensive lineman. I hate to tell you, but usually offensive linemen are conservative. Now, Kevin Wilson was not.
Although I bet he talks to his father-in-law all the time, Art Briles.
No, you're right.
Right?
Yeah, I'm sure he does. Who, by the way, would pull out every stop.
Absolutely. He's an offensive genius.
Yeah. Countdown to kickoff, Bud Light Game Time. We're on the road here live from the State Fair in Texas. The RV General Store, Sports Animal Mobile Studios. It's all driven by the great people at Eskridge Lexus. If you're trying to find us, just look for the big old Ferris wheel and then walk kind of southwest from there, and you will see us. We got a crowd gathering out here. We're going to be here before and after the game. We would love to see you. Come on by. Next, we'll talk to Mr. Mark Rogers. He's a guy that has told us that he does not think that Dylan Gabriel is going to play today. We'll get his thoughts on that and a lot more right here on the Leader in Sports, The Animal.
Dr. Martin Lopez.
Game day up in Lawrence, Kansas. So Texas kickoff at 11 o'clock today. And Mark Rogers, you swearing that Bevel that Dylan Gabriel not playing today?
Yeah, Dylan Gabriel's not going to play today. I don't think that he got reps in practice this week, and I think that'll tell you more than anything about.
No, he did get reps in practice this week. I know that for a fact.
Clearing concussion protocol. No, okay. Well, I don't think he's going to play this week. I think he suited up in practice this week, but I don't think he took reps in practice this week.
He didn't take a lot. He didn't take a lot of reps as of
well, now I'm not trying to go against you. I'm just saying maybe we're splitting hairs a little bit.
Yeah,
he did suit up in practice.
Yeah.
He didn't take enough reps to be ready to play this game. I think it's already decided.
I think you're probably right.
You know, it's kind of mind-boggling to me that you would put him out there. We were talking about it, Mark. You'd put him out there with his uniform and everything. Maybe not with a helmet, but with his uniform. Because it's just, what's the reasoning? You know, Mark. I mean, he.
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't.
Head.
No, I mean, well, that's you can fall down and hit your head walking.
I know,
class,
but if you're out there messing around, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Well, look, I think there's a chance he suits up and warms up today. I think it's a little bit of mind games. I don't think that he's like going to be out for 3 weeks or anything along those lines. But I do think that there is a mental aspect to this. I mean, if Texas has to prepare for both quarterbacks, it's a little different. Yeah, Gabriel's a much different player than Bevel. He's more mobile.
He's much better. I mean, how about that? He's much better.
Yeah. Well, he's a lot better.
Hey, Mark, why the line move? I mean, you and I follow this stuff.
I sent you a text yesterday. I talked with Todd. there's a lot of speculation out there. I mean, I think that people are trying to, maneuver it in a way of that sometimes people will go bet lines if they've got a lot of money or big cartels of syndicate money out there that'll try to move it one way and then go play it the other. But I think there's a lot of speculation on whether or not Gabriel will play. And the line is right in kind of the area where it would be anyway. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're not talking about a ton of points between 7 and 10. So I know, Ultimate, you just kind of faded everybody on the OU pick, or kind of, right, you're just playing the opposite because your eyes tell you Texas is going to win this game, right?
Listen, I have no idea how OU is going to stay in this game, especially if Gabriel doesn't.
Let me give you some numbers to back you up here, okay? I'm going to give you some numbers to back you up in this game. I mean, it's pretty easy to determine who's going to win. It's the team that runs for more yards. Because in the last 25 meetings, the team that's ran for more yards is 21-2-2, or 22-2-1 straight up. Against the spread, 17-5-2, or that goes back to 1999. So 17-5-2 against the spread if you simply run for more yards. Right. OU's run for 220 a game. That's pretty good. The last two games they gave up a bleep load, 636 yards of rushing. So we talked about Texas. They couldn't really finish off Tech by running the ball. Tech's 76 of the country in rushing defense. And so Texas has done just about the average against everybody they've played this year with rushing yards. So for Oklahoma, they're allowing 198 a game, which is embarrassing. It's 119th in the country. But if they run for 220 and allow 198 today, then chances are, history says, that's about an 85% bet that OU wins the game.
Here's the problem with that stat. Texas is going to stack the line if Gabriel's not playing. So I'll throw that stack out, Lord. I mean,
it's a little different.
Yeah, I think it's going to be different. I think they're going to say, okay, Bevo, you beat us, man.
Fair enough. But all I'm saying is that if Oklahoma's able to hold Texas rushing game down, Texas is not prolific running the ball. They're really good throwing it. I mean, we've got 3 receivers that have caught 20 passes already. I think that says a lot. I don't know how you can throw a stat out that I just gave you that the last 24 times is 21-2-1.
Because you hadn't had a quarterback like Davis Bevel play this game.
He is.
But there have been years where OU's been an underdog. There have been years where Texas has been a 16-point underdog and have won the game by outrushing the opponent. I mean, this game is one thing about this game that's different is the emotion. I think that it's just a different animal with the fans split 50-50, all that's on the line in this game. And
I'll tell you this, Mark. I would never put my hard-earned money on this game.
I would.
You would?
Yeah.
You'd bet Texas?
I bet if Gabriel's not playing, I'd bet Texas.
I don't know how it's going to happen, and I'll say I was wrong afterwards, but I got a feeling that OU is going to stay in the game. It's just the way this game is. There hasn't been blowouts in a long time. 9 games, I'll bring you another stat, 9 games in a row. This has been a one-score game. But you're right, Al, the quarterback. I understand.
Well, and when has OU played Conan's game as bad as game as they did last week? Embarrassing.
You're right.
Okay, so look at it if you're Texas in this game. In 2014, 2015, I've been doing these pregame shows with you guys for a long, long, long time.
Yep.
I remember thinking OU's going to blow Texas out. 2015, they're 16.5-point favorites. Texas wins. 24-17, outrushes OU 313-67. 2014, OU's favored by 16.5. Barely win the game. OU favored by 12 in 2013. Get beat 36-20. It's just a different game. None of those Texas teams were very good. None of them had great quarterbacks.
And we only see it from the other side because OU's always the favorite. If we were doing a radio show in Austin,
13 straight times. That's unprecedented in the history of the series.
Wow. See, that's what I'm saying.
2005 last time Texas favorite.
Yeah.
2009. 2009.
2009.
Yeah,
2009. Right. 2005 is when it was double digits. Listen, again, I agree with everything you're saying. And I also, Al is right, too. Just by the eye test, I'm
with Al. I was giving you some ammunition to back up your pick.
Right.
I'm with Al.
You're going the other way.
Texas wins and covers. But again, I know enough to know that I don't know. You were, last week my 12-pack didn't do very well. I heard about it yesterday afternoon on the drive home. So know that I can pick the wrong side with anybody.
We all can.
But it does look like to me that Texas is the better team. But there really is, if you look at the numbers, if OU can run the ball today, then they'll have a shot in this game. Texas isn't a great rushing team. So
I'll tell you one of the things that hurts OU, the quarterback's not going to be able to run unless they put one of those other guys in. Because this dude Bevel can't run at all.
I don't know how ready you are. I had somebody that would know tell me something today too. They kind of thought that it might be better for Texas to play Card today than Ewers. Not that Card is better than Ewers, but that Ewers has played 5 quarters of football, and to put him in the environment, they just said
that's a great. I agree with that.
Different things
I agree with that.
to freshmen.
I agree with that.
Listen, I agree, but I think that the difference between the two, I'd rather have Ewers. That's just me. I agree with you. And there's
less difference between those two than there is the OU starter and backup, though, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Card's a nice player.
Well, isn't he better than Adrian Martinez and Max Duggan?
Card, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Duggan's playing really well.
Well, Martinez, I mean,
he's in. Let's put it this way: he's in that category,
or at least Ewers. I mean, and you're right, Mark. I mean, we don't know. And I was talking to Jim about that yesterday. About he's going to come down that ramp for the first time, and it's a different game. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But the thing, Mark, though, last week when those receivers are running all by themselves, I mean,
well, it'll be the same result because Texas has similar skill players to TCU. If OU has that many busts, I don't know. The only thing the OU defense can do is try to
break when you're ready
and just let guys play and not be thinking so much, because that's what happens, I think, when people run right by you. One other thing on the opponents. Now, a bit of this goes into the fact that they played OU, but the last 4 teams that OU's played are all in the top 50 running the ball, and K-State and TCU's in the top 10, and they both ran it well before OU. So again, this Texas team is 5th out of the 6 opponents for rushing the football.
And what's unbelievable is they probably got the best running back in the league.
Yeah, and he hasn't been able to break things.
You think that has to do with those the 2 freshmen starting at offensive line, maybe?
Yeah, I don't think that the offensive line for Texas is very physical. I think it's a little bit of the same thing that the OU defense is going through. It's hard to change that in 1 year. It takes a couple of years to kind of change who you are. You got the same players for the most part, or young guys. So I think that's. I know it's a fascinating game today.
I know you listen to sports talk radio as much as I do. I mean, you've heard me, I guess, talking this week about putting Evers in there for 6 or 7 plays and do you agree with any of that at all?
I've just not heard good things said about him. I really haven't. Like he's ready to go. And I heard what Brent said this week, and I thought that was a tell, Jim. Like at a poker table, Brent said, I like watching him in the scout team game, but Coach Levy will get up here and tell you he's not ready. Right? I mean, so
yeah. Or he could have been bluffing.
The head coach didn't want to say anything bad about the quarterback,
right.
but he did put it on the offensive coordinator to say he's not ready. He's not ready. I just don't think he's ready.
And then again, as I said, I know that Monday Bevel got to reach snap.
But but I'm just going to say
some Wildcat, Mark.
Yeah, how about that, Mark? One of these guys.
I think you could see some Wildcat today.
And the other thing is, you know what? If a wide receiver runs a ball, that counts as a rushing yards. I mean, how about you give the ball to Mims once in a while?
Well,
I think Mims could be a Deebo Samuel, don't you? Don't you think Mims could be that guy? He's not as big as him, but I think he could be that type of guy, Mark.
I think if it's the Wildcat today, the guy you're going to see taking some snaps to be Braden Willis, who's been underutilized to the offense so far today.
We saw throw the ball too, right?
There you go. That's what I'm just saying. He's underutilized. He's a big kind of bruising guy, and if Texas is going to stack the line, make him tackle a 235-pound guy.
Like the belldozer? We're going to do some belldozer kind of thing?
I don't know. I don't think I know the 3 of us can sit here and agree that OU dropping Bevel back 50 times today is going to get them beat probably by 4 touchdowns. So I think they're smart enough to know that they're going to have to do some different things if that's the fate, which I think it is.
Yeah, he's going to, and Jim's right. He said, Levy got to open the playbook. Got to.
This has got to be an all-out, let's get after it.
That's where I do disagree with Jim a little on this. Like, you have to see if you can run.
Oh, yeah, I agree. But first play from scrimmage, I'm running a double reverse pass. I'm just sorry. You know why? Because let me tell you something, Mark. if it works, it'll be unbelievable. If it doesn't work, you're telling Texas right away, we're going to do anything that we can possibly do. They start to think a little
Look
bit.
what Sarkisian did against Alabama that first quarter.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. What he
I don't know. I don't know
That's
Levy.
fair.
I didn't watch him enough. I watched him at Baylor. They had their quarterback, RG3 and those dudes, they didn't need to do anything. I didn't watch him. He had Corral at Mississippi. But I don't know, I don't know if he has a whole bunch of imagination as far as doing some different things out of the ordinary. I don't know.
I said he needed to talk to his father-in-law.
Well, that certainly might help. Hey, Mark, listen, you've been riding on Kansas for about, 15 years, and it looks like you're finally right. But I got to tell you, my T&W Tire Lock of the Week is TCU. I think it ends right now this week. You disagree, or what are your thoughts?
Well, my T&W Tire Lock of the Week is Kansas.
Yes!
And I made it on Thursday. So I will tell you this. Since Thursday, the more that I've looked at this game, I started to feel like I should agree with you. TCU really does. Their skill players are legit. And maybe it's just because I watched them crush OU last week that I think that more now than I did. But this conference is fascinating. We get lost and talk about how OU went in 8 days from people loving the team to hating the team, which is, everything that takes up all our time. But, man, who's going to play in Arlington for the Big 12 championship game? Huge game today for Kansas State. They're only a 1-point favorite on the road at Iowa State. Those are the type of games that if you're going to get to the Big 12 championship game, you need to win. And I don't know that today's game, OSU is in an interesting spot. The Cowboys have had some home letdowns over the years. That Tech is a team that turns it over and they don't throw it very well. And I think the teams that are going to beat OSU are the teams that can throw it because I think their secondary and linebackers are much better against the run. So I don't know that Tech's capable of doing that today. But all of these games are every week they're going to be great games, I think, or at least when we go in, it's going to be hard to tell. Yeah, well, that team's going to win for sure.
Got to win the close games.
Yeah. I will give it up to you, Mark.
There'll be a bunch.
I will give it up to you. About a year and a half ago, you told me about this Daniels kid, and he is a stud, dude. He is going to be. I think he's an All-American type guy up there at OSU.
Well, he has massive, massive ceiling, and I think right now he struggles because he's not really a guy with a position. Yeah. I was having a talk last night at a high school game with a guy that has coached him at times, and talked about I think he's always wanted to be a defensive back, but he's really got the body for a linebacker. So
he would be perfect for Brett Venables' cheetah. He would be like the exact guy, wouldn't he? Yep. Wouldn't he, Mark? He'd be the perfect guy for that.
I think he can develop into that. But I'm just saying, if he can develop, listen, you just don't see NFL safeties and corners at his height. Yep. So if he wants to play at the next level, I think he's going to have to learn how to bulk up and play some linebacker, no matter what he sees himself as. You know what I'm saying? But he is a freak athlete. That's for sure.
Man, he will hit you too. Now
that's what I'm saying.
He may miss you once in a while, but he'll hit you.
Yeah, somebody may turn him and spin him around like Cooper Kupp. You know what I'm saying? How would you like to see that matchup in 3 years? But if you put him closer to the line of scrimmage, that
right when you're ready,
would be a guy that has a huge impact.
All right, give me some scores. Give me a score in Stillwater, and then we'll go down here.
Okay, in Stillwater today, I think that I just think Tech, to me, if they throw it, they turn it over. This is so far from Mike Leach's Tech teams. But I think Oklahoma State will win that game 35-24. And I got no idea what's going to happen in the Cotton Bowl. I think Texas wins. I think with Bevel at quarterback, what I saw from him last week, there's just not much that's going to change. Just holding on to the football and throwing it underneath and all that kind of stuff. So I think Texas wins the game 34-14.
All right. Thanks, Mark. Good stuff. Appreciate it.
See you guys.
Very good. Well, we got a lot more coming up. Countdown to kickoff, Bud Light Game Time. We're on the road live from the State Fair of Texas. We're in the RV General Store Sports Animal Mobile Studio, and it's all driven by Eskridge Lexus. If you're listening on the app and you're looking for us, we're over by the big, huge Ferris wheel. We are a little bit south of it. Just walk over. You can't miss us. Coming up, we'll talk to Ryan Aber of the Oklahoman right here on the Leader in Sports, the Animal.
Al Eschbach and Jim Traber, Oklahoma, Texas. Going at a little after 11 o'clock today. Join us right now. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt, dressed in a nice red and white striped shirt there. You styling there, Governor.
Absolutely. How are you guys doing, man? It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, big boy. Obviously, we got let me turn that. Yeah, we got a lot of football obviously going on, but I got to ask you about campaign and everything. You're coming down to the end here, huh?
30 days away. Couldn't be more excited. You know, Oklahoma, we've got a lot of momentum right now. Largest savings account we've ever had. We cut taxes for Oklahomans, every business, every person. Trying to get the grocery tax across the finish line, I think, would help a lot of people as we're fighting the kind of the Biden inflation and everything seems to be costing more. But lowest unemployment we've ever had in state history. So a lot of folks are doing really well.
Good. And you're fired up for this game. You were down here with us last year. It's a little bit different this year, huh? OU is struggling a little bit.
Yeah, you know, new coach, but man, I had lunch with Venables, and what a classy guy. He just loves the kids, the program he's going to build. We just got to be patient, and but I'm really excited about the direction he's taking the program, and with the leadership of with the AD. Joe's been around a long time, and we'll be fine.
You got to like the enthusiasm Brett has, don't you?
I really do. Yeah, class guy. In it for the right reasons, and we'll be fine. We're going to be fine.
I love this. People know I love his faith. I love that he's not afraid to talk about it and everything. You and I have talked about that before. Guys in a position like you and him and stuff. I love it when you profess your faith. You know.
Absolutely. You know, in Oklahoma, we believe in traditional family values, and we believe in faith and putting God first, and then our families, and then our work. And so it's just who we are. Let's be proud of our culture. Let's not shy away from it. And it's very attractive to a lot of people, and I know that he's going to be a great recruiter. We're already seeing that. So
there's people listening to us right now, Al, that are going, I don't know if the faith's going to help today, though.
You're right. Yeah. Hey, you have a bet with Jim Abbott? Is that who you bet with?
Yeah, Governor Abbott. We do it every year.
Jim Abbott, he's the pitcher, Al.
We're 3-0. I'm 3-0 against Governor Abbott.
That's right.
And we bet some
barbecue.
He's betting barbecue. I'm betting certified Oklahoma steaks, and so we're looking forward to collecting from him again. I keep talking about having you over to the governor's mansion for when he pays us off. Traber.
Come on, dude. I'm here. You got my number.
Okay.
I mean, you can call me. Your guys have been calling me. I got state policemen calling me. I got Texas dudes calling me. I thought I was in trouble. But no, yeah. Listen, we love having you on. Now you? I mean, I apologize, but you went to OSU.
Yep.
And but you love
Norman High.
Grew up Norman High, right?
Yep, Norman High.
Went to school with a Fat Jack, and your brother did too, right?
That's right. You know, my first job was selling Pepsis at Owen Field with Fat Jack, my brother Keith, a couple other people, and so I was a fifth grader. They were, I think, in 7th or 8th, and
that's cool.
Yeah, it was fun. So yeah, I've known Fat Jack a long time, and came down here for the first OU Texas game. A senior in high school with my good buddy Brandon Whitt, who's out there today. Corbin McGuire's out there. Rusty Branch. So it's always a fun time to come down here and hang out with all of our friends.
Very good. What do you think about OSU football?
Yeah, you know, I've been so busy running the state. You know, I used to just I knew every recruit, everything, listen to you guys religiously. But obviously I keep up a little bit. And OSU, I think are they 4-0 or 5-0?
Oh, they're 4-0.
4-0. Played Texas Tech today. I'm obviously down here, but it's good to have a senior quarterback, man. He's doing a really good job, and so looking forward to watching them play.
It's his 7th year, I believe, and he got another one coming too. COVID year.
What's incredible, Jim and I coming back east with college football wasn't anything.
Yeah.
And we come out here and you find out. I always said it's a religion. Is it not?
Yeah.
You grew up in Norman, you know, right?
Absolutely. We yes. You know, it affects your whole week. I mean, when OU loses, you're just down in the dumps all week long, and fortunately, OU's doesn't lose very often, and we've had some really, really good seasons, and obviously just the coaches that we've been able to get at OU with Bud Wilkinson and Barry, and then Bob Stoops. It's just been amazing, the tradition, and I think Venables will step right in there. I look forward to him being here for a long time.
You know, so a lot of times over the years here, I be doing my show, and I get a text from you. You'll be saying something, you listen to the show, but lately you haven't been texting me, big boy. Is that because you're trying to win that re-election? Is that what's going on?
We're 30 days away, leaving it all on the field, and I really feel good about it. I don't think Oklahomans want to go backwards. We believe in smaller government, lower taxes. We believe in freedoms. People saw how I led through COVID, And I wasn't going to shut our state down or shut our schools down. And I was getting a lot of pressure from the Biden administration, some of these other states. And we believe in freedoms in Oklahoma. And so, I think Oklahomans agree with that. And so that's what we're going to keep doing.
How many hours you get sleep now?
Do what?
How many hours you sleep now?
Oh, I get plenty. I get about 7 hours of sleep, maybe 6. I was last night at the Clinton-Weatherford high school football game.
Were you?
Before I flew down here late. And, man, that's awesome. Being in high school football in Oklahoma, Clinton-Weatherford's a huge rivalry. And Weatherford got the better of them last night, but I flipped the coin with those young people. And I was out there with them, Traber, and I was like, guys, you don't know how lucky you are. Just to be able to come back and play high school football again. I just remember, playing at Norman High in front of all your friends and all those all the young people and your classmates. There's just something special about high school football in Oklahoma.
Now,
too.
we would be remiss if we did not ask one big question that a lot of people are listening about. What is going on with sports gambling in this state? I mean, you guys passed it a long time ago. Tell us where we are on that, Governor.
I actually put that in a couple of when we were negotiating with a couple of the smaller tribes, and we actually gave them sports book, and then so there were some lawsuits whether we were allowed to do that by the legislature, and so we want to get sports book done, but we want to do it the right way, and we're looking at what other states do, and we want to make sure I protect Oklahoma. We get the right revenue for that when we give that away, and we also put in there I talked to OU's athletic department, OSU's, also the Thunder, to make sure that we protected and gave them some sports books as well. But yeah, we're totally open to that. Look forward to kind of having those conversations. But let's make sure it's fair, and it's kind of what the revenue is in other states.
Well, what's the revenue like in other states?
Well, it depends on. Get into weeds. There's the handle, and I think we had like 1.5% of the handle, and that's I think what New Jersey does. Some of the other states. And
New Jersey is killing it.
Yeah, as long as we can get a fair deal and we have transparency and we can make sure we can audit everything, then we want to do it. Like I said, I've already put that in the compacts for a couple of the smaller tribes, but we want to get that across the finish line because I know a lot of people want that. And,
There's a bunch of
it's
people
already there in other states.
A bunch of people, man, driving across state lines, go to Kansas and Arkansas to bet on some games. Hey, you know what you need to do? It's really, really simple. Get the tribes and you and me and Fat Jack.
I love it.
And let's get in a room, order lunch, and let's figure this thing out. I'll be the mediator because, of course, I'm so level-headed, and the Fat Jack knows all about it. So we got to get something done, big boy.
Okay, all right. Let's.
Come on.
What are you doing? What are you doing next week, Traber?
Hey, listen. You got my number. You call me. I would love to be involved. I got a great relationship with the tribes. I got a great relationship with you. I would be more than happy to get in there and help.
Awesome.
I'm serious.
Well, you just get what they're doing in New Jersey, what they're doing in the other states. Put that plan together, and we'll sign. I'll put the legislation forward next session.
Listen, Fat Jack's got it all, dude. He's been to all this. He's been to Illinois. He's been everywhere where they're all doing it. We could make a lot of money for the states. Everybody would make money. So let's figure it out. Who are you picking today? Give me OSU score and against Tech, and then what do you think is going to happen down here?
OSU score. Let's see. They're playing Tech. Man, I haven't really watched Tech that much, but
they turned it over. But they got a pretty.
They beat
good
Texas.
They beat Texas.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm going to say OSU 48-38 against Tech, and we'll do.
Line's 9.5. So you might have been looking at this and not telling us. You drive to Kansas and bet on the game. Is that what you did?
Let's go. I think our defense is going to show up today. Let's. I think OU's defense is going to show up. So we'll say 24-21 OU.
Okay, and you better not have to give steaks out, man. We don't give steak. You want to get that barbecue.
That's exactly right.
Why don't you tell us who's going to quarterback? Find out if you're doing
Gabriel's
Gabriel's quarterback. And
Come on, you got power. Come on. He's
hurt. Whether he's going to play. Have we not heard yet?
We don't know.
Okay.
Mark Rogers says he isn't, so we will find out here in a couple hours. You're the man.
Al, how you been doing, man? You look good.
Got a good friend, Lewis Jackson, who's worked for you in the Republican Party, a friend of mine. He comes in with those a lot.
Excellent.
So, absolutely good. Yeah.
We sure appreciate you stopping in.
Absolutely.
How many policemen you got with you today? About 17, 18? What's going on today?
Yeah, there's 3 or 4. Just shaping the minds of the police department.
I like
Traber.
that.
Yeah.
I'm shaping the youth, and you're shaping the police.
And I'm shaping nobody.
That is the
Which
greatest.
we're happy about that you're out, not shaping a bunch of people out. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank
Governor
you, Traber.
Stitt, thank you so much. Great
Thank you, guys.
great to have him on. Thank you so much. And Kevin, I don't know what happened. I know that Ryan Aber. You know what? Why don't we take a quick break, Matt Meyer, while we try to get Mr. Aber back. It is Countdown to Kickoff Bud Light Game Time on the road right here at State Fair, Texas. RV General Store, Sports Animal Mobile Studio, all driven by Eskridge Lexus. We'll be back. A lot more coming up on the Leader in
Bowl. Myself, Al Eschbach, along with Jim Traber. Weapons of the game today. Golly, we got Sam Mays joining us. Sam, for OU, it's going to have to be like Eric Gray and Marcus Majors.
We heard Eric Gray's going to play, right?
Yes, that's what Ryan Abers said.
Yep.
So,
Sam, how you doing?
Yeah, no, it would be. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. I think that Eric Gray has come a very long way this season. You know, I've always thought that he might be a little straight line fast. You guys remember that Ross kid from a few years back who could just fly in a straight line? Like I always thought that Eric Gray was going to have that kind of speed. I don't know that he does. But what he is a very, very confident 4-down back. He's great in the passing game. He's shown a lot of toughness this year. And I will say that this offensive line, guys, has done a great job kind of shaping up a little sooner than expected. You know, even with the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line a few years ago, it took to about that Texas game that you guys remember for that group to really kind of gel. And I think this offensive line is very close to being that, to gelling and being an asset to the offense. And I think last week what we were going to see from Jeff Lefty was maybe a little bit of that run-first mentality until the defense got run out of Fort Worth. You know, and then he had to start throwing the ball a little bit more. So I would expect the run game to be a big part of what Oklahoma is going to do today. And I think the Barnes kid, and I think I heard Jim talking about him this summer, like that boy is good. I mean, put his foot in the dirt, get north and south, low pack level. I mean, he is an old school back. It reminds me a lot of those kids that Colorado used to have back in the day. Nice, tall, but doesn't run like a tall back. Runs with his pads parallel to the ground. I like him. I think he's going to be a nice asset to Oklahoma over the next couple of years. Well, so I would agree with you. I think those two guys absolutely are weapons of the day.
Well, you know, Gray and Major are both really good players, but I just think, and I know, Al, you agree, I think Barnes he's at the level, I'm not going to put him at Adrian Peterson level, but he's at that level that it's high, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, he's a highly recruited kid coming out of Nevada high school ranks.
Yeah. He looks really, really good.
Look, we all know we know what NFL players look like. All we've done is cover them for the last 20 years. And that's what that kid, he looks like. He looks like a young future NFL football player one day, no doubt.
What Stillwater, OSU, big win down there at Baylor. I didn't think they'd go down there and win, but they did. And now you come back against a team that I think Tech is dangerous. You know, when they don't turn the ball over, they're pretty daggone good. You know, it's interesting. Al and I were looking at it yesterday. Against Texas, they turned the ball over 0 times, won the game. Against Kansas State, they turned it over 4 times, and they had every chance to win it, and they lost. So, no turnovers. This will be a football game, don't you think, Sam?
Look, I've got PTSD from playing against Texas Tech. We had 2 ESPN Instant Classics against them back in the day. I mean, I would call Texas Tech kind of like a sister school to Oklahoma State. It's always competitive. It's always got a bit of a rivalry feel to it. Boom Pickens will be rocking off the foundation, no doubt. But yeah, Tech's got no quit in them. And I love a story of a good football coach getting an opportunity. And I think some of the best videos I've seen so far this year with the college football season is Joey McGuire addressing his team. That dude's a coach. You can just tell he's already won the hearts and minds. They love him. They get out there and play hard for him. They'll be fired up and excited to play today. And plus, that quarterback, that dude's like 6'4", 235, and he can move. I mean, he's got an arm to him. And when he gets some confidence behind what he's doing, he can sling the rock, no question. So Oklahoma State's going to have to show up in a big way offensively in this game, because I think the defense, if you're Tech, Jim, and you know this better than I would as a quarterback, if you're Texas Tech, though, you want to play small ball here, right? I mean, you want to move, you want to get the ball out of that kid's hand in the first 3 seconds, or he's going to die, because there's not an offensive line in the league that wants any part of Oklahoma State's defensive front in this moment. Those kids are playing at a different level. You saw it last week against Baylor, and I can't imagine that Tech's offensive line is going to be able to hold them back for 4 and 5 seconds today.
Well, you talked about coaches addressing the team. I'd love to see Saban address his Alabama team as they play A&M. Bryce Young, questionable. Don't know if he's going to play tonight. But that's going to be really interesting tonight with Jimbo Fisher coming.
Revenge, Sam.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, Fisher is one of those. I'm not a huge Jimbo Fisher fan. I feel like the day that he left Florida State in the lurch and really kind of burnt down that entire program to go to A&M is one of the worst moments that we've had in college football in the last decade or so. That dude's a real jerk. And so I'm here for Saban just beating the hell out of him at any chance that he can get. So I'm hoping to see Alabama win that game by 40.
And you know what? I talked to people that worked with him, and he is a jerk.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. What about the Kansas? Al brought up earlier today. If at the beginning of the season we would have said, "Oh yeah, OU Texas weekend, game day is going to be in Lawrence, and TCU and Kansas are going to be in the top 25 playing each other." I mean, you'd have thrown me off the radio, Sam. It's like bizarro world going on in the Big 12.
Yeah, it's crazy, but you gotta love it, right? I mean, I remember, being at Oklahoma State in 2001. I think we won like 4 games, and the Oklahoma State's always got a decent, passionate fan base. It's never got as bad as what Kansas has been in the last couple of years, but that next season when we won 8 games and went to our first bowl game and won it, and then the next year was a Cotton Bowl year, and just for those boys, I love it for those boys that have been there for the last 4 years who have not experienced, had a great college football experience. And, to do that, it takes fans and it takes excitement and it takes a great, tailgating atmosphere. I was lucky enough to play in front of game day several times at my time at Oklahoma State, and it really did add to my college football weekend and experience at the time. So I'm happy for them. The difference between Kansas, though, and a team like Oklahoma State or a team typically like Oklahoma or Texas is Kansas has got like 23, 24 good football players. And they all play their butts off on Saturday, no question. The Cowboys are going to bring out about 40 of them. Right?
Yeah.
Oklahoma's
You're right. We lose Sam.
allowed to play at your best for the entire season. I'm curious to know when Kansas is going to hit that wall a little bit because they don't have the depth to survive
It's
the
today.
Big 12 Conference as is for the length.
Today's
You
the
think
day.
it's today?
Today's the day they hit the wall. Hey, Sam, give us real quick score in Stillwater and a score in here at the Cotton Bowl.
I like Oklahoma State 38-24. And, as much as I believe that Oklahoma's got a real chance in this game because you never know what's going to happen, you got to pick Texas just based off of what we've seen. So give me the Longhorns 35-28 and a better game than people anticipate. I think this is a game that Oklahoma's defensive line is going to be able to have a little success in as Texas offers a youthful and inexperienced offensive front that should be susceptible to some of the action that OU shows them today. So I like the Oklahoma defensive front, Ethan Downs and Reggie Grimes. Those guys are going to get back on track tonight. They're going to get a little pressure on them and make it a good competitive game.
Hey, Sam, unfortunately, you've had to do radio with a bunch of yardbirds, but welcome to the big leagues, okay? Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you so much.
See you, man. Sam Mays. And now we're going to bring in Ryan Aber. Sorry about all this, Ryan. It's a working, you never know with live radio, the governor comes. So thanks for hanging around. And Al, what do you got?
Got Joe Biden going to be here in 15 minutes.
Okay, bring him in. That's fine. He won't answer any questions, but bring him in. That's fine. Go ahead.
Ryan, I've never gone into an OU Texas game not knowing who OU's quarterback's going to be.
Yeah, it's certainly an unusual situation now. I haven't been in the stadium yet, but listening to people who are in there, it sounds like Dylan Gabriel's warming up and slinging the ball downfield.
Right.
So we'll see.
Mark Rogers said he would do that.
If that's real,
yeah.
I would be surprised if he plays. I still think that Davis Bevel is likely to be the quarterback today. I know OU fans are going to hate that to hear after what happened last week. I do think there's things you can tweak a little bit with the offense, with what they were doing to maybe help him out a little bit. But it sounds like that's going to be the reality of things.
Let me ask you, what if he passed protocol, Gabriel? Jim and I have been talking about that all week. What
if he passed protocol and was able to practice it all this week? If he passed protocol, you probably roll with Gabriel anyway after what we've seen from him, what we've seen from those other guys. It's clear that they don't think Nick Evers is ready, given the fact that he hasn't even taken a snap. I know there's been some fans who are, on that train. I think it's difficult to see me throwing out a freshman quarterback in a situation like this to take his first snaps. So I think if he passes protocol and all those factors are the same, you roll with Dylan Gabriel. But
don't forget Calcaterra. They said you never play here again. Then he went to college. Now he's in the NFL. So they err on the side of caution.
Yes,
do they not?
Yes, they do. And OU is well known as being one of the sort of on the forefront of concussion research and concussion management. And they are very conservative in that regard. But if he's cleared the protocols that they have, it's pretty clear that Dylan Gabriel is far and away their best chance to win not only this game but games period.
I will say this. Al knows this story, but we went to play art when I was at OSU. We went to play Arkansas in Little Rock. Psychotic. John Dorner, the starting quarterback, broke his leg. I came in the game. I played. The following week, I was the starter. I'm going to tell you that I don't have any. I think Bevel's not very good, more than likely. But at least when you're the starter, they do a whole week of you being the starter. Al, does that make sense?
Yeah, you get all the reps.
That's right. And they cater, like you said, to what you can do. So I'm not going to say Bevel's going to light it up, but I'll bet you he doesn't play as bad as he did last week.
Right. And I actually talked to Cody Thomas this week, who was
that's
the
right.
last.
That was a great article, by the way. I saw that. Yeah.
I appreciate it. And, Cody Thomas, the last OU quarterback to go through this situation. It's crazy to think it's been, 8 years now since they've lost a quarterback to injury. But when Trevor Knight went down, he said that next week was a whole lot different. He knew he said he wasn't sure, but Sunday or Monday that he was going to be the starter. And you're able to not completely overhaul your offense, but at least tweak your offense to play to the strengths of the quarterback that you have. And I think certainly with Davis Bevel, there were times last week when he took sacks instead of throwing the ball away. Clearly he's got to be a little bit more mobile, not as much of a statue back there, but you can do things to take advantage of it. And if you've got a healthy Eric Gray, along with Marcus Major, who it sounds like there's a good chance he plays today, or Javante Barnes, either of those guys, I think you've got to lean really hard on those guys and turn Bevel into more of a game manager type. Because let's also remember when Bevel came into the game was virtually over at that point, even though it was in the second quarter.
That's exactly right. By the way, Cody Thomas, is he still playing baseball?
Yeah, he is. He actually made his big league debut on September 1st, I think. For the A's. Made it a couple weeks there, got sent down right at the end of the season, but yeah, so he's doing well over there in Oakland.
Cool.
What about the other injuries? Wanya Morris, Billy Bowman, we talked about Eric Gray, Ethan Downs. What about the other people?
Yeah, it sounds like Ethan Downs is all right. It sounds like Billy Bowman is out. He's not going to play today. That's a big loss for them. Just the depth in the secondary is a problem. It was a problem before. When you lose a guy like Bowman, who's probably been their most consistent defender on the back end, that's really big. I mean, it's a great story, Justin Harrington coming back, and it's good that they have him at this point. But he's clearly not what Billy Bowman is. Although the one play where he's running like crazy, that wasn't his bust there.
Right.
On that one, he actually showed a lot of speed to get even a chance to chase it down, but wasn't great overall. I haven't seen anybody inside the stadium talk about him, but I would be doubtful that Wanya Morris plays. That's a big loss for them up front. Now, I don't think all of their offensive line improvement has been on just as simple as Wanya Morris is out there, all of a sudden they're better. I think they've gotten better independent of that. With Anton Harrison, I think it's gotten a whole lot better. McCade Matowers performed a whole lot better the last couple of weeks, but they've got to be better at pass protection, especially. I think they've been really good at run blocking. So a lot of things up in the air for the Sooners. It sounds like a lot of those guys are going to be back, but still a lot of questions across the board. I've never seen a game like last week with all the injuries.
Oh my God! Hey, two quick questions for me here. One, how has this coaching staff been? You're the beat writer. If people don't know, you're there every day. I mean, you go to Norman every single day. Sometimes there's more access than others, but how has this coaching staff so far been to work with? And how, after that beating on Saturday, give me a few words of how you think the coaches feel right now.
Well, I think when you talk about how to work with, they've been really good because everything is sort of at an even keel. If you remember when OU lost during the Lincoln Riley era, it was like shut it down. The walls came down. It was sort of a disaster. We would get to talk to one or two players, captains only, seniors, those guys, and it was sort of a one voice type of thing. Now, obviously it worked because they generally came back from losses and performed really well. But Brent Venables, it's been the same all the time. So win or lose, get to talk to all kinds of players, get voices from the freshmen. We got to talk to Javante Barnes this week. Got to talk to Eric Gray after he got banged up.
I heard the Barnes kid's really good kid.
Yeah, he is, and I think he's going to be. He's one of those guys that I circled before the year that he's got a chance to have his playing time really increase as the year goes on.
He's going to be a star. I mean, Al and I have been talking about him for a while. He's going to be a star
because he can do a little bit of everything back there.
And I just think he's. And Al said, obviously, very highly recruited kid. I think they're going to be really good at running back for the next few years.
Well, and it's a puzzle switch up. I mean,
what's going on with him?
Four-star kid,
Greg, when you're ready.
Kid.
You got any idea what's going on with him?
Yeah, I think he's just a guy who's a freshman and not quite ready. He's got the speed. There's no doubt about that. We've seen that. But I just think he's not quite ready. So I'm not sure that we're going to see him a ton this year. But I think Barnes has got a guy, even if Major is back and healthy, he's got a chance to see his role grow and grow as the year goes on. Because he looked really good last week. I know most of his carries came when the game was sort of out of hand, but still, independent of that, you can see the future is really bright for him.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, this is crazy, man. How many years you been the beat writer now?
This is my 10th season as the beat writer. I was on a couple years before that, sort of home games and this game every year. Then I was covered OU when I was in Muskogee and actually in Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Wow.
As
nice.
well. We used to come down to games.
Oh, that's a great place.
Tell them
Fort Smith, Arkansas.
If they lose today, Al, first time in 3 losses since when, Al?
98.
Since John Blake was the coach, so it's been a while.
What a massive game. We haven't come down to the Cotton Bowl very often and we're sitting here going, man, so you have a chance? We don't do that ever.
Yeah. It's
05, right, was the last time we didn't think they were going to get lit with Vince Young, remember?
Yeah. It's been a while. It's a different atmosphere this week for sure.
Yeah. Ryan, we appreciate it. What'd you get a score? What's your score here?
I did. Sorry, OU fans, I did pick Texas to win this thing. I do think it's going to be close this series, especially in the last few years. We've seen a lot of close games, even when we should have seen blowouts. I think Jeff Levy figures out a way to make that offense perform well. I went 37-30 Texas over OU.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. We always appreciate you coming on, big man.
Thanks for having me on.
Ryan Aber from the Oklahoman doing a great job covering OU. This is Countdown to Kickoff, Bud Light Game Time, on the road, live from the State Fair of Texas. We are in the RV General Store Sports Animal Mobile Studios. It's all driven by Eschbach Lexus. Want to remind you now, we are streaming live. You can watch us on TV. We're on the YouTube. We're at sportsanimal.com. We're on our app. And also, you can actually ask questions on there if you'd like. I don't know if we'll get to them, but we will definitely try to do something. Coming up next, I got to tell you something. Barry, I'm looking at Barry Trammell down there. He looks a little bit like a Southern gentleman, like a Southern lawyer, the way he's dressed today, huh? We'll have to talk to him about that. Stay with us. This is a leader, and I mean huge leader in sports, the Animal.
Who will air it out in today's game? Sponsored by Air Comfort Solutions. Make the winning call. Call 405-721-3740.
Guys are up.
And we're back here at the Cotton Bowl. Myself, Al Eschbach, Jim Traber, Barry Tremble join us. OU, Texas. A little after 11 o'clock. Who's going to air it out? We have no idea. Isn't it great? We're a little bit more than an hour and a half before the game. We have no idea who's going to air it out.
I know who's going to air it out.
Viewers.
Whoever is the second receiver from the Sooners on the back end of the double reverse pass you've called for on the first play
I
of the
sure
game.
hope so.
That's who's going to air
I
it
sure
out.
hope so. Don't you think Texas would go, wow, okay, here we go? I don't know.
If only Colton Bester was still on the team. Remember, he could fling that ball left-handed?
Yeah.
I remember that. It looks like Willis can throw it, though.
That looked like he couldn't to me.
It was a touchdown.
Yeah, not because he threw it within the same.
But he was
zip
throwing
code.
against his. We don't need to argue about that. Anyway,
Bring back Jake Sills.
Mark Rogers has told us that he is convinced that Gabriel will not play. We hear he's out there loosening up, warming up. But, of course, I don't know what that means. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't know. You guys had me sort of persuaded he was going to play.
Listen,
so.
I don't know how a line moves 2 points.
Yeah.
I mean, usually that's somebody coming back, but
Yeah, I don't know. It probably won't matter if the OU defense doesn't play any better than it did last Saturday.
Yeah, we talked about that. And again, tell the people the question we asked Brent Tuesday at the press conference.
Well, I asked Brent if, he completely redid the defense. Alex Grinch has a speed D. Brent plays that traditional 4-3 pressure type stuff that was so good at Clemson. And he came in and just, did what most coaches would do, just put in his defense. I asked, was there any thought to making it more gradual or, sort of slow playing it in because of personnel? And he basically said, no, you can't do that, or he wouldn't do it. And it, I don't know. Heck, for all I know, he's doing the right thing, but it looks to me like they're playing Clemson's defense without Clemson's players, and that's part of the problem.
well said. No, you're right. And they got to get those players right out.
Yeah,
Next couple of years, they've got to. They really do. Clemson's one of the only teams in the country that has gone in there and beaten those big boys from the SEC, right? I mean, who else did they beat? They won 2 national championships, and I guess what? Were they both against Alabama?
Both Alabama.
Yeah. So in a big game, very few teams beat Alabama. Ohio State did it too, right? Ohio State.
They did in 14. They did it.
Yeah.
The thing, though, in those first 2 games, he did more stuff with a 4-man front, and then he's gone with that 3-man front that's been really ineffective.
Well, it was really effective against Nebraska.
Right.
But
Yeah.
Nebraska stinks.
Yeah.
So it was not effective last week. By the way, Nebraska leads the Big Ten West.
I already told
So,
Al this morning.
We got to get
ready.
off the Huskers.
How about that?
We got to get off the Huskers.
Hey, how about a Big Ten championship game, Ohio State against Nebraska? What do you think that'll be?
They've
could be-
taken down Indiana by 3 and Rutgers by 1.
You know what the line will be on that game? If Ohio State played Nebraska in that championship, it might be 24 points in a championship.
And I put the money on Ohio State.
I would.
Well, they're playing Michigan, aren't they? Nebraska's playing Michigan in
Oh, are they?
November, I think.
Okay.
I think they are.
I knew they didn't have to play Ohio State.
Yeah, I think they're playing Michigan in November. So, anyway,
Good for the Mickey Joseph kid.
anything works against Nebraska.
Yeah.
So,
you're right.
yeah, I don't know. You know what? I'd find my best 11 players. I don't claim to know who they are. And I'd just put them out there and say, all right, how do we need to line these guys up? That's what I would do because they need more than good schemes. They need good players.
But no matter what defense you're playing, you can't bust as bad as they did last week. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen, I see it with Lamar Jackson, but I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback fake the ball into the line and then run around the end and you don't even see anybody. You don't even see anybody.
Where was the back end on that?
I don't know. The defensive back came flying over for some reason.
Well,
I don't know what to tell you.
and also, no matter what defense you're playing, you better get a quarterback rush. I mean, they haven't touched a quarterback in 2 games.
Yeah, they got any quarterback is good when he's not pressured on this level. So you're right. They got to pressure Ewers today, make him feel pressure in the pocket. He hadn't played. He might be a little skittish. Last time he took a snap, an Alabama guy flung him to the ground and landed on him like the Anvil and Wile E. Coyote. So make him think that this is heat back into high pressure football.
Yeah, you're right. They got to go hit him. Yeah, and look, I don't never say, "Oh, hurt somebody," but if you can hit him and make him land on his shoulder, I mean, let him play next week. But it is
now you're sounding like Buddy Ryan. Buddy Ryan lives, Al.
No, you know why? Because I'm not paying. I'm not paying for him to go do it. I'm
That's
just saying.
beautiful.
Buddy Ryan, Buddy Ryan would be suspended every week in the NFL. If he coached today, he'd say something, and they'd have to
We
suspend him for the
forget
week.
what a piece of work Buddy Ryan was. He was the best.
Hey, by the way, his 2 sons are a piece of work too.
Hey,
right?
I got to tell a Buddy Ryan play. He's coaching. He's with the Eagles then, and the quarterback from Vegas, Russell Cunningham.
Yeah,
Randall Cunningham.
Randall
Anyway,
Cunningham.
they're playing the Cowboys, and he hated Jimmy Johnson. Anyway, they're up by about 20 points with like 5 seconds left. He has a quarterback taking the knee, Cunningham, and throws a touchdown pass.
Yeah.
Only one and only, Buddy Ryan.
A couple years later, Jimmy Johnson got good, and he was
You're
spanking,
right.
He was
Yeah,
spanking everybody. But you're right. Buddy Ryan was an absolute trip. Let's talk about some games around the country, champ. There's a game that it's close to us a little bit. Is Arkansas at Mississippi State. Leach, very quietly, he's doing a nice job at what we all agree is a horrible job, but he's doing – all he does is go to bad jobs or okay jobs and do well. The guy's amazing.
Bad cities.
No, you're right. No, he loves Lubbock. Tram loves Lubbock. But do you love Pullman, Washington?
I've
too?
never been to Pullman, Washington. I think it's charming from what I've seen.
Starkville, Mississippi.
Charming.
I don't like Starkville at all, but it's awfully remote. What he does is he goes to remote places.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to get
good
to.
Point.
It's you guys joke about how hard it is to get to Lubbock. Lubbock's like New York City compared to getting to Starkville or Pullman.
Pullman is
You're right about that.
I mean,
Yeah.
and Starkville is awful to get to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
But
hard.
he's winning. He wins football games.
He does win.
I
He's
tell
doing
you
a
what,
nice
this
job.
big game, Arkansas is a 9-point underdog.
Yeah, I
in
saw
this
that.
game.
They're my upset special for the nation.
Boy, that's
interesting.
huge.
I know.
That's what I thought.
It looks so. I mean,
My
Arkansas.
gosh.
I don't know. It's really, really weird. The problem is that the KJ Jefferson kid at Arkansas, who was very highly touted, he's kind of gone up and down this year, And that Leach is going to score points, right?
I think his throwing's overrated. I think he's a good runner, but he hasn't played as well. And he had maybe the worst play of the college football season, that ill-fated swan dive that he fumbled. They're about to take whatever that was, 21-point lead, and instead it's 14-7 10 seconds later.
Yeah.
So, but that's an interesting game. It is. It doesn't matter much. I mean, neither team's going to challenge for the division title, but it's an interesting
But,
game.
these are teams that OU's getting ready to go play. No doubt about
Yeah.
it. What about the big one where they are at game day, Kansas and TCU?
I just don't see how Kansas can cover TCU. Maybe if they can, build a statue for Lance Leopold. But I just think TCU is really good on offense. I think Kansas can score on them, but I think it'll be difficult for TCU to get slowed down. And if that happens, then we got a big one next week, OSU TCU, in a battle.
Or
unbeaten.
Kansas wins, they come to town undefeated next week.
Will they be favored?
No chance.
No chance. No chance.
They're a 7-point underdog at home against TCU. No.
Let's say the Longhorns beat OU decisively today.
Yeah.
Kansas beats TCU.
Okay.
You're saying there's no chance that
The line will
Kansas-
open OU giving 7.
Really?
It's guaranteed.
Really?
No, you're not gonna. No one's gonna give. I'm gonna tell you this: if Kansas came as a 3-point favorite at OU, they'd get $5 million on OU. The line would set the fly the other way. I'm just telling you. And I know OU's not that good right now, but
That's
Kansas,
interesting.
they're not gonna be favored down in Norman.
That's interesting.
But you know what? They might win in Norman. I'm not saying they're not going to win. Let's see what happens today. I think TCU. I think final score of this game is going to be like 51-31 or something. That's what I think.
Yeah, it could be.
What about Alabama A&M?
Break when you're ready.
I am going to think Alabama's going to win. We don't know about either quarterback. Max Johnson broke his hand.
He's out.
So
He's out for the season, they're saying.
And then your man Young, who knows? But
Questionable.
that'll be a take no prisoner game for Nick Saban.
You talk about revenge. That is one of the biggest revenge situations I've ever seen. And then you talk about Jimbo Fisher and him fighting in the offseason.
You know, I wasn't even thinking about A&M beating them last year.
Exactly.
I'm just thinking about the war of the words last May. So, yeah, that'll be unpleasant, I would think.
You know, you know what I love? What I love is after it was, Saban's like, yeah, no problem. You know, the minute he walked out of that press conference, he went into his office and there was somebody in there and he goes, I want to blank. You know, am I right? Him saying that's no big deal, Al.
Oh, he had to be throwing things.
Oh, he had to be livid. And I'll bet you Jimbo Fisher's all fired up too. But he better figure out how to win some games. Right, Trim?
The honeymoon is over.
The honeymoon's over, but I don't know that a divorce is imminent. I mean, still a lot of money for A&M. Great day. 85 million or whatever it is. That's 5 buyouts for a really good program.
How in the world would any university ever agree to that?
Here's now you lived, maybe you still do, in the world of agents. I never have. I don't think Al ever has.
Right.
I've long thought that the best agents in the world are now the NBA's agents because they run the league.
They do run
NBA's agents run the league.
And that's one of the reasons because their commissioner is fairly soft.
Yeah, probably so. But I'm starting to think college football agents are the best agents in the world.
Why?
Because of the contracts they're able to get.
For coaches.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, players. What am I talking about? Players don't have agents. I'm sorry.
Well, they do now, maybe, but but I mean, like Carl Durrell. He got fired the other day. His buyout was like $8 million.
In Colorado?
Why does Carl Durrell have a buyout of any kind?
That's ridiculous.
Wow.
Do you remember what he was doing when they hired him?
Oh, let me think. Was he at UCLA?
He's the wide receiver coach of the Miami Dolphins.
Wow.
And they give him a 5-year contract worth whatever.
And did he was he 500 at UCLA?
Yeah, he was not bad at UCLA.
Okay.
Not bad.
Okay.
But that was a decade or 12 years ago.
So it's not a bad hire, but why are you giving a big old buyout?
Who are they bidding against? They're trying to make sure Michigan doesn't hire him? That's not. Here's madness.
Here's the other thing too. If you're the wide receiver coach of the Miami Dolphins, and a college comes to you, a Power 5 school, and says, "We want you to be our coach," and you say to him, "Guess what? We're not going to give you a buyout." Is he going to go, "No, I don't want the job"?
That's my point. I don't understand it.
It is a little bit mind-boggling.
I don't understand Brent Venables' contract.
What is it? What is it?
I don't know the buyout, but it's $7 million. Why are you paying an assistant coach more than the head coaches, the successful head coaches in the sport have been making?
But,
I don't understand it.
Point. That does seem like a lot, Al.
No doubt.
When somebody asked me what Brent would make, I guessed $4 million. Then I heard $7 million. What are you talking about?
I would have thought 4.5, 5. Yeah. Well, remember, and this is like ancient history, but when they hired Bob Stoops, very similar to High and Venables, right? Remember they gave him like $800,000, and then he had a really good year, and it went up, and then they won a national championship. Now you start getting after it, right? But times are different, guys.
Now, Brent had a really good job. He wasn't the assistant.
Oh, he's the best defensive coordinator in the country.
Yeah. He was
but
hard
so was
to get.
Bob Stoops, right?
So I understand why it was different than hiring Carl Durrell, but I just think the agents in college football are
it doesn't make a lot of sense.
And these buyouts, I mean,
$85 million.
$85 million. That's just nuts.
That is
10-year contract.
And what are they going to say? That's what I'm saying to you. Is the guy going to turn the job down?
And the guy at Mel Tucker at Michigan State.
Michigan State.
I mean, he has one good year, and they give him a $90 million contract. And he's Mel Tucker. Now they're 2-3, and they're terrible.
How much is Leipold going to get? Like if he goes to Nebraska?
He's got a ceiling on his because he can't make more than Bill Self. So they got a ceiling at Kansas.
No, I'm talking about if he leaves.
Goes to Nebraska. Oh, well, I don't know.
How much is he going to get paid?
No telling.
What's Mark Stoops getting? Like $5 million?
He may be north of that now.
He's north of it, yeah.
He may be $6 million.
In fact, somebody told me they're going to get this. You're both sitting down. He's trying to get more money in Calipari.
I hope he makes it.
Isn't that great?
I hope he gets it.
Gosh.
That would be wild.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That would be wild.
When you're ready.
some of those old Kentucky basketball players, they'll go psychotically crazy.
So
They'll
will
think,
Calipari. So will
Calipari will go
Yeah.
crazy. That's exactly right.
I wonder, is Calipari, is his ego so big that he doesn't realize how good Mark Stoops is for him? Does he? You see what I'm trying to say? Is his ego so big that he doesn't understand that Mark Stoops playing great football is good for Kentucky basketball?
I'd say his ego is, yes.
I would say he doesn't realize it.
I think
That,
that's
you
right.
know, and what you're saying is that when Kentucky football gets good, same with Kansas football. If Kansas football good, it takes a little pressure off the basketball.
Exactly.
I mean, if KU goes 8-4 in football and goes to the Alamo Bowl or something
and
this
you
year,
bring recruits in this time of year to football games.
but if you win some in football and then your next basketball season is, okay, but nothing special, the fans aren't quite as, on edge.
And you know what? Al just brought up a great point. If KU's recruiting some big-time basketball player and they bring him in and he goes over to watch a football game, they got 25,000 people in the stands.
They're not taking them to football games. They may now be.
Yeah.
But they hadn't been
helps.
taking them to football games. I don't know where they're taking them when they come to Lawrence.
Okay, let's get some scores from you. Tell you, what do you think's going to happen in Lawrence?
Oh, I think TCU wins high-scoring game, sort of like you said. I don't know what I said, but high-scoring TCU victory.
We haven't talked with you at all about Stillwater. Texas Tech is a weird team to figure, man. We talked about it all week. When they don't turn the ball, 0 turnovers against Texas, they win. 4 turnovers against Kansas State, and they're still in the game and lose. How good is Texas Tech?
They're pretty good. They're not great. The turnover thing got them at North Carolina State, too.
You're
I think
right.
it was 4.
Al said that.
I think it's 4 turnovers at Raleigh. They're pretty solid, but OSU is extra solid, if you know what I mean. So I think I don't think it'll be hugely decisive, but I think it'll be a solid victory for the Cowboys.
I'll tell you this: if Texas Tech gets behind, I could see Joey McGuire going for 10-12 fourth downs.
Yeah, let's see. Tech ranks 2nd and Baylor 6th or 5th. I wrote about it earlier in the week. In fourth down attempts. OSU is tied for last.
Boy, and Mike Gundy, right? Didn't you? Were you?
I wrote about his fourth down stuff.
And how he said he tried it and he didn't like it.
Yeah, he went by the analytics. They had a black book and they took a service, and they had a guy that would tell him during the game. Here's what he said. I did what he said about a quarter of the time, and after the season, I said we don't need that anymore.
He's not as old as we are, but he is old-fashioned.
Yeah, he's old-fashioned.
Isn't he old-fashioned? Yeah. So you picking OSU by what?
I think I said 10 points or something, 34-24 or 27-17, something like that.
I'm surprised you didn't make Kansas, but you like TCU. Okay. Now, for people that don't know, every single week, you are the only person in the paper that has to pick a national upset. So you take an underdog, has to be at least 3, right? Is that what you said, or 5?
5. Shoot for 5.
Okay, 5. You take a national upset, and then you take a Big 12 upset. So you had to pick. You picked OU as your upset. But if you didn't have to do that, give me a score and what you think happens here.
Well, I always pick whoever won the year before.
You do.
So
you would still pick OU?
Yeah, I picked OU in 05 when it was, the Vince Young team. It was pretty clear
I did too.
It was pretty clear they were going to get run over, and they did get run over.
Al and I, hadn't OU won like 3 in a row or something?
5 in a row.
5 in a row. And I said to Al, I'm not going to miss again, Al. I'm picking OU. And Al was sitting there laughing at me. And, of course, Vince Young was, I think it was 48-12.
41-9.
41-9. Yeah. So you're picking OU.
I am going to pick the Sooners.
How do they win? How can they win?
Well, that I don't know. How does your car run? Do you know how your car runs?
Pretty good.
No, I'm not. I'm saying, how does it work?
Oh.
When you put your key in and turn it, and then put it in gear and step on the gas, you go places.
Okay, so
do you know how that happens?
My key doesn't turn. I push a little
Whatever.
button.
Do you know that process? Do you know how that happens? I do not.
I know there's an engine and all
do you
bunch
know
of
how?
stuff.
Do you know how?
wheels.
I got no idea.
Al, do you know how airplanes fly?
No,
Oh, yeah,
I have no idea.
I don't know how airplanes fly.
He used to put them together.
Yeah.
I got a question. I don't know how airplanes fly.
Neither do
I have no clue.
Right.
But you know what? I get on an airplane and I figure they're going to get me to Atlanta in 2 hours. That's pretty cool.
So you got no idea.
So I don't know how. I don't have any idea how you can win this game.
I tell you what.
But They could, and I picked them.
They better get off to a good start.
I totally agree. And they have it in any game. By the way, Trim, it's seersucker. Seersucker is the suit.
I'm wearing a seersucker?
Well, it's what they wear in the South, and you look like you're wearing a seersucker
Well,
suit.
tell people who you
Right
think
when
I
you're
was
Oh,
looking
you look
like.
like Donald Sutherland in the movie A View to Kill. A Kill the View. A View to Kill.
Let me tell you something. I like Donald Sutherland, so I'm taking that as a
He was
compliment.
really good. Thanks, Trim. Appreciate
See
it.
you guys.
Countdown to Kickoff Bud Light Game Time. Everybody's telling me to let's go, wrap it up. I'm sorry, I talked too much. We're here at the State Fair, Texas, in the RV General Store Sports Animal Mobile Studios. It is all brought to you by Eskridge Lexus. When we get back, we will talk to Mr. Dean Blevins on the Sports Animal.
Myself, Al Eschbach, Jim Traber, join us, Dean Blevins, and Dino, your inner urban instincts of the day, please.
Well, I think it's going to be a day to remember. I think that across the country, I think that Texas A&M is in a very vulnerable position as they go to Alabama, and I think Oklahoma's in a vulnerable position here against Texas. Upset wins would be things that just sort of propel you to a great season. And both of those programs will have an opportunity to do it. Texas A&M will be on the road in prime time, and Oklahoma, of course, is split down the middle here in about an hour. So, I think we might look back on these days in the future as being significant.
Dino, I wanted to tell you, I had more than one person tell me how much they enjoyed you talking about your OU Texas experience. Just kind of the vulnerability that we could hear in your voice. So a lot of people just want to let you know that a lot of people thought that was really cool what you talked about, Dean.
Well, that's good. That's good. Just when I got in the business, I know it's like both of you guys got in the business. People may not like your opinions, but you got to give your opinions. And more importantly, I think that your opinions need to be sourced and with experience and all of that. I think everyone there near you and everyone listening, for the most part, is pulling for Oklahoma to win. But you have to be honest about the circumstances, and it will be a challenge, of course, if Dylan does take the snaps, and it'll be a challenge even if he were to take the snaps.
Mark, go ahead.
We're an hour away. A lot of sources say he's playing. Other sources, Mark White, say he's not playing. So,
yeah. What do you think, Dean? I know it'll be a guess, but what side do you think it is?
I don't think he's playing. I'm just getting into the Cotton Bowl right now. The only picture I saw from him warming up was a T-shirt and shorts, and I saw a couple of other players in full pads behind him. So that's what you would anticipate him doing if he weren't going to play. But him being out there, I guess it's a possibility until I actually see if he suited up. If he suits up, it'd be a different matter. But I just think that it's a risky proposition, and it's something that OU probably won't go through with. And I don't think he'll be available. And if he is, this is a game where he's got a chance to right whatever wrongs have been wrong in the past with him. He's going to have some time and protection, and then he has to be smart about getting down if he does run the football. But I had a dream last night that Davis Bevel was the starting quarterback, and the first two plays didn't exactly gain ground. So hopefully my dream was wrong.
I had a better dream than you, okay?
We know that. Hey, Dino, always love to talk to you about Arkansas. Your brother played there. I know your dad, Dexter, God rest his soul, was an Arkansas fan. You were too when you were younger. Two things. They go to Mississippi State. They're a 9-point underdog, okay? And to me, it just seems like too much. But also, if you want to comment on Leach against them, and I also want to ask you, what is the ceiling, in your opinion, for Arkansas? Are they one of those schools, Dean, that you just think, hey, 9-3, maybe a 10-2, maybe beating Alabama? What's their ceiling in your opinion?
Well, in the SEC, I think the ceiling is just what you said there. It is just so difficult. If you think Oklahoma doesn't have as many high school prospects, Arkansas is even a smaller state, and Oklahoma has done so much better recruiting in Texas. Arkansas has certainly upgraded the program, and I'm so happy about that. So happy Sam Pittman is the guy in charge over there. But I think it was kind of a wake-up call, when Alabama got on them. They're just at a different level. Heck, Oklahoma took really good football teams, played Alabama and LSU, and they were at a different level. So there's a lot of people at a different level than those teams. But, Jim, I think that he's got a group now. The key is going to be if Sam can follow up with these seasons, assuming this one plays out well, coming off last season, that you get the players. And so they've had an upgrade in players, and if they continue to do that, they'll be competitive. And but I just see the way this thing is set up, guys, with NIL and with transfer portal. I just see the beasts only being bigger beasts, and off the cuff, there are 3 beasts in that comment, and that would be, of course, Ohio State, Alabama, and Georgia. Others should emerge, but unless things dramatically change on the landscape, it's going to be very difficult for teams to get into that trio, including Arkansas.
By the way, Blaine Brown is inside the stadium, said that he does have his pads on. So
okay,
what do you does have his pads on?
Yep, he says that he has his pads on and he is throwing, I guess, with his pads on. So I don't know. This is we got no idea. Well,
if I were OU, Jim, if I were OU and he weren't playing, I would have him out there with his pads on, because you want him to the last minute to be talking about and preparing for him.
Totally agree.
But obviously having the pads on gives him a better chance than being the only guy out there in shorts. So Billy Bowman, of course, is out, and I think those comments I've given you all week about it being weeks and the injury that I was told in MCL, that's one of several weeks, and so we'll see. We'll see among the others who's not out there, but that group of safeties, Al, that's going to be playing. You're playing a lot of people that haven't played in the Cotton Bowl, and some have, but you get some familiar names and others who haven't played down there, and their work is going to be cut out for them because Bijan's going to have some success running, I would imagine, and then you've got Worthy out there. He's got a couple of other receivers that are pretty darn good too. So if Ewers is healthy, Oklahoma's going to have to really get after it defensively. That's the biggest question I have, guys.
Well,
the team we saw last week,
yeah.
Al, the team we saw, I mean, I know that there are offensive issues, but what we saw last week and some the week before, they couldn't stop anyone.
Well, and they gave the quarterbacks all day to throw the ball. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
By the way,
Ryan, your risk of putting pressure on him is bringing more people that they can block, which puts stress on the back end. But the way that you got to do that quite a bit, I think.
Yeah, especially with Ewers being a freshman and he's only played 5 quarters. By the way, Ryan Aber was on a little bit earlier with us, Dean. He says that he doesn't think Wanya Morris is going to play. Matter of fact, he said he's pretty short, didn't he, Al?
Yeah, to the shoulder injury.
Yeah, shoulder. He's in a sling, as a matter of fact. So, I mean, injuries happen. We were talking, Dean, after Nebraska, you were saying, gosh, they haven't had any injuries, right? Remember you were talking about that?
Yeah.
And now they have had some. And this is the first time the quarterback's been hurt since what? Since Bradford?
It's been a long
Trevor Knight.
Time.
Oh, Trevor Knight, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Trevor Knight. That's what it was. Yeah. So we will see. What Dean? What are your thoughts in Stillwater, Texas Tech?
That's going to be interesting, Jim. I think that Tech's such a better team at home that OSU will be fine. So I expect the Cowboys to win that one. But Texas Tech is a threat to everyone, and they're definitely a threat at home. I like this OSU team right now, though. I think it is rock solid, and despite not having your elite players, they put a lot of darn good ones out there, and with the quarterback playing the way he is, and just seeing that defensive front, to me, you start with the quarterback and defensive front, and they've got that again this year, and they're playing well.
A&M at Alabama tonight.
I think A&M is in for a long night. I think it's a 3-touchdown game, and it could be more, but I think it's that. It's just a matter of, I don't know how good Alabama.
You can break when you're ready.
I know that they still have a whole lot of people out, but they've got a chance tonight to really embarrass Texas A&M. I don't know if they're quite good enough to do it. But they're darn good. They're one of the top 3 for sure.
You know he's going to run it up if he gets a chance on Jimbo. Interesting. You know, Dean, if Alabama, and I agree with you on Alabama, I think he's going to do everything he can. But if they win by 3 touchdowns and they don't have their starting quarterback, man, that is a statement for Alabama.
Yeah, and I was going to follow that up, Jim. I'm glad you said that. Yeah, you're not playing with your Heisman winner is a very, very big deal. They're so good across the board, though, and this kid got good experience last week, and he showed that he is the real deal. So 3 touchdowns may be too much, but it's not. Their backup quarterback situation going into that game is dramatically different than Oklahoma's.
Yeah, that kid they brought in, man, he didn't throw it great, but golly, he ran like a gazelle.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting stuff. All right, the big one down here, Dino, tell us how you think this thing's going to go.
I think OU will scrap, fight, do everything possible. I think they'll take some chances. I think they will be coached up. I think they'll be much better prepared this week than they've been in the past 2 weeks. I see Texas having a convincing victory, and darn sure hope I'm wrong.
All right, Dino, thanks so much. I saw your beautiful wife last night. You and I are we're in way over our heads, you and me.
I know it. Have you guys made your picks yet?
I've taken OU into points. I got it at 9, when we made our bet, when we made our wagers or our picks. And I know Al's going to probably go more for the other way.
Yeah, but I'm not going to pick until I know who's quarterbacking. I mean,
well, you can
I'll
make
give
2
2
picks.
scores.
I'll give 2 scores.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
no problem. I agree.
All right, guys. Hey, we'll see you in the stress box.
Okay, see you, Dino. The stress box. You got the stress box and
worthless.
Worthless. I like it. Dean's coming up with a lot of good stuff.
No doubt about it.
It is Countdown at Kickoff Bud Light Game Time on the road. We are live from the State Fair of Texas in the RV General Store Sports Animal Mobile Studios, all driven by Eskridge Lexus. If you're looking for us, we are a new place. We're south of the Ferris wheel, the biggest Ferris wheel, and we're going to be here after the game as well. When we get back, we'll talk to Mr. Craig Humphreys right here on the Homer Thunder Basketball, the Animal.
On.
And we're back. Myself, Al Eschbach, Jim Traber, here at the Cotton Bowl, Oklahoma, Texas. Coming up a little bit after 11 o'clock today. And Craig Humphreys. Craig, this is crazy down here with not knowing who the starting quarterback's going to be for Oklahoma.
Kind of hard to make a pick if you don't know who's playing, right, Al?
Yeah. Al's making 2 picks. He's going to make one with Gabriel and one without.
I think OU will play a lot better with Gabriel. I'm not sure it'll make a difference in who wins the game. So, it's interesting. I mean, I agree with what you guys said earlier. If he's cleared to play, they should play him. For these people that go, well, he hadn't practiced all week, I mean, they are significantly better with Dylan Gabriel, right?
Yeah. I mean, the
if
doctors
he's cleared
say
to
yes.
play. I'm not saying he should play if he's not cleared, but yeah,
yep.
If he's cleared.
It's not like he hasn't taken snaps this year.
Yeah.
He's taking a lot more snaps than anyone else they would put out on the field.
You know what, Craig? I said this yesterday. I'll say it again today. Since Bob Stoops has stepped on the campus at the University of Oklahoma, these words have never come out of my mouth. But I think there's a chance today for a moral victory for OU. I do. If they could just play well and keep the game close. Now, I mean, we all know in this game it doesn't matter. They could win. We're not saying they can't win. But if they get beat by 20-something and look bad again, that is a bad sign for the rest. If they come back and look respectable, don't you think that helps, Craig?
I guess. But if they lose, they're still 0-3 in conference. And I don't know. I don't know, Trabe. I don't know if there are moral victories in this series. I know, I mean, I'm an old guy. I started coming back in 1967. First year they lost 9-7. Second year is 26-20. Then 27-17. You know, the Glenn King fumble game, Al, and then they got blown out the next year when they went to the Wishbone. I'm just saying, you know, as an OU fan at that time, I didn't feel good about any of those losses, even if it was 9-7. So I don't know. Maybe they would feel better, but OU fans aren't going to feel good when they lose this game.
I'm just saying, as bad as they were last year, if they could just last week, if they could
Last
just
week,
play
yeah.
better.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. If they could
Well,
just play better. I know.
thing
I'm
that
not a
worries
moral
me,
victim
if
guy.
if Texas gets up by 21 this year like they did last year, I don't think they're going to let it get away this year.
Well, and if OU loses, first time in 24 years they've lost 3 straight games.
That's
tremendous
amazing now.
consistency.
Yeah, going all the way back to the John Blake days. Yeah,
98.
No question. No, the defense was. I mean, Al, you've seen a lot of OU football.
It was embarrassing
That was historically bad. Last week.
It was embarrassing last week. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
in every aspect of it.
I got sucked in after the first 3 games. You know, I was talking about it looks like they're tougher, right, Al?
Not missing tackles.
Yeah,
not
they
getting beat
weren't.
long.
That's right.
Last week we throw that out.
I mean, we were talking about that, and then the next thing you know, Craig, goes back to some of that ugliness.
They did look good, the first 3 weeks, but we find out, I mean, we knew at the time they weren't playing anybody the first couple of weeks. And then the K-State game, I thought a lot of that was just, Martinez just has such a great game against him, and I gave him credit. Yeah, I gave him credit for a lot of that. But last week, you can't defend anything that you saw last week. Just breakdown after breakdown, pass interference penalties. They clearly couldn't cover the TCU receivers. And plus, I mean, if they were just getting them through the air, that's one thing. But then they were just blowing holes wide open. And when you run for over 300 and pass for over 300, what was it, Al? 668 total yards.
Yeah.
That was a total embarrassment. And so going up against this Texas team, and guys, I think Texas should be undefeated. I'm sorry. I watched the Alabama game. They dominated that game all the way, led it, most of the way, and then let it get away at the end. Give Alabama credit for that. And they did lose Ewers after, in the second quarter of that game, whatever it was. Then the Texas Tech game I watched, and I'm still trying to figure out how they lost that one because Texas led by 14 in that game. They led by 10 when Tech goes for it on a 4th down, and they got it Tech 40 up by 10. They should go and score and put the game away. I thought they were far, far too conservative. Yeah, that was on the road in Lubbock. They lose in overtime by 3 points, but they have a 1-point Alabama loss, a 3-point loss in overtime. I thought that they dominated both games. I mean, the Tech game, they didn't dominate the fourth quarter, but I mean, they had a 14-point lead, should have won the game. I think they're really a good team. I'm looking forward to seeing what they look like with Ewers because that quarter or quarter and a half, whatever it was at Alabama, he looked darn good. Now, I know, Trabe, that's a small sample size.
Yeah, no, you're right, Craig. I don't know, Craig. I can't figure out anything, to tell you the truth. I don't know what's happening in this league.
Well, I can't either.
The bizarro world. Kansas and TCU playing for first place.
With game day there.
I mean, what the heck is going on? It's hard to explain. Craig, by the way, Al and I went to bed last night. Did you watch the Houston comeback? What in the world happened? They were getting killed.
No, I didn't, but I read all about it. I mean, that was an incredible. They score a couple of times in the last minute and 17 seconds.
Yeah, they got the onside kick. Yeah.
Then the onside kick. They go 12 plays, 75 yards to cut it to 32-26 with a minute 17 to go. Then they get the onside kick, and then they score with 18 seconds to go. But that's just crazy. Toon throws for 366 in the game. Dana, he was about to implode. Did you see that when the kicker just pulled it dead left right before halftime?
I did see that.
He's about to implode over there. But then to think that they came back, they got a 100-yard kickoff return midway through the fourth quarter.
Oh, we didn't see. We don't know any of this. Al and I both went to sleep.
Yeah.
We're sitting here. We're watching the highlights, and I said, Al, Houston came back and won.
Yeah, I turned it off.
Yeah, we both.
That's crazy. No. They got a 100-yard kickoff return halfway through the fourth quarter. But then, right after that, Memphis goes down, kicks a field goal. So Memphis is up by 13 with a little over 4 minutes to go. Looked like they have it in hand. Jeez. And then Houston comes back with those 2 late touchdowns. So, that was great.
Boy, he's had some close games this year.
Overtime and everything else. Yeah. Gosh.
Yeah.
Craig,
yeah,
what about
talk about a roller coaster season?
Alabama A&M. What are your thoughts on that one, Craig?
Oh, I think Saban will run it up if he has the opportunity, and I think he might have the opportunity in that one.
Yeah,
boy. A&M. I mean, I know Oklahoma's a disappointment. Is there any more disappointment than Texas A&M this year?
Well, we were talking about it, the disappointing teams. OU,
Baylor.
Texas A&M. Baylor's a little bit.
Baylor, yeah, Baylor got 2 losses already. So
Yeah, they were ranked number 8 in the country.
Yeah.
I think, before they.
And I don't know if Bryce Young is playing Trey, but I really don't think it matters. That Jalen Milroe, I mean, the backup quarterback for Bama,
He
he looked pretty darn good. And I
Good.
know it's a small sample size there too, but what we've seen at quarterback at Texas A&M is embarrassing. And now Max Johnson has a broken hand. That Haynes King was looking terrible. He threw up a couple of interceptions against Mississippi State. Been a turnover machine. Yeah, so it's all Alabama.
They're getting a bunch of recruits out. When is he going to get a big time quarterback?
that's a great question. Wasn't this kid heralded?
The Haynes King, they loved
Right.
him. I mean, remember he got hurt last year, the
Yeah.
first game, right, Craig? And no, he's really,
Yeah.
really good. And then we see him, and he's not very good. So
They
it
got
is
a guy
my
named Connor Weigman. I don't know anything about him.
They're trying to get the Micaiah Nelson kid that's committed to USC.
they're trying to get him,
Yes.
Malachi Nelson.
Yes, Malachi
Okay,
Nelson.
well, I mean, now he's not going to play next year at USC. That's for sure. Right?
Yeah, right. That's exactly
When
right.
he's sitting on the
Yeah.
bench. I don't know. It's more obvious now, Craig, than it ever has been. You better have a good quarterback, right? Or you better have like 13 draft picks like Georgia did last year. So it's crazy.
Well, and how about Georgia last week? I mean, they struggled with Missouri.
I
really,
know.
I mean, Missouri was in position to win that game in the fourth quarter.
I
Let
know.
it get away. So
Crazy stuff. What about the TCU Kansas game? I think it comes to an end today, Craig. Matter of fact, my T&W Tire Lock of the Week is TCU.
Trabe, I'm with you on that one. And listen, I love the Kansas story.
It's a great
I love
story.
Game Day being there. It's a tremendous story. But TCU, I know what I saw last week against Oklahoma. Now, I still don't totally trust their defense. I know Gabriel missed a lot of passes early. Oklahoma could have scored some points in that game. But I just think they got too much offensive firepower. So if I had to go one way, I'm going with TCU and Kansas. Guys, I mean, you look at it, it's been a great story, but I don't know how they're going to get by with less than 3 losses, and I really think it's closer to 4 or 5.
Well, if they go 7-5, they should they'd be fired up as can be. Even though they've won these in a row. Yeah, but you're right. Okay, Stillwater, Craig. Texas Tech turns it over, they lose. Don't turn it over, they win. That's basically what they've done so far this year. And OSU coming off a huge victory. What are your thoughts?
If this game were in Lubbock, I might be worried about an OSU letdown, but I don't think that they're going to let that happen at home, Trey. Yeah, you're right. Texas Tech, this Donovan Smith, I mean, he is dangerous. He's thrown for a lot of yards, but they also had 4 turnovers in the K-State game. That's what did him in. And he got sacked like 6 times or whatever in that game. They got the victory over Texas. They played a tough schedule. Like you said, Trey, they had the double overtime win against Houston. They played at NC State, 27-14. That's not embarrassing. That's against a good team.
By the way, turned it over 4 times in that game, too, I might add.
And beat Texas in overtime. Coming back from 2 touchdowns down to beat Texas in overtime, and then lose to K-State by 9. OSU should win this game by a couple of touchdowns, right? In my mind, a 10 to 14 point victory for OSU at home. I think the Cowboys. It is maybe a good spot for Texas Tech. Trap game for OSU. I think the Cowboys get it done by double digits.
Okay. Down here, Craig, I know you've been to many, many of these. You're not able to come this year. Tell us, by the way, the OU fans are out. I thought that they may be a little bit not fired up, but they're out and getting after it. So what do you think is going to happen here in the Cotton Bowl?
Well, like Al said, it's hard to pick when you don't know who the quarterback is. But I would have to say that I would be picking Texas to win the game by 10, even if Dylan Gabriel did play. So if he does play, I still think Texas wins the game, and they would cover the spread maybe, but win it by a neighborhood of 10 points. If he doesn't play, I just don't see any way for Oklahoma to win this game. If Gabriel doesn't play, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm looking at more like a 3-touchdown Texas victory, like 41-20. Maybe if he plays, it's 41-30. Either way, I'm going to be surprised. Trabe, you're right. We've seen surprises before, but I just can't see a way to do it. And I heard Mark on, and Mark was talking about giving all the history of close games and surprises. And then he even picked Texas by 14, didn't he? Or,
He did. He gave all the. I think he was doing that to humor me a little bit. He did.
Hey, I want to wish happy birthday to Shelly Gary. Reagan's mom is celebrating her birthday today.
Beautiful.
I don't know if she's going to get a birthday present from OU, so I'll give her this happy birthday wish at least.
By the way, guys, here's another one for this game. Listen, 2015, TCU beat Texas 50-7. They were 1-4 coming into the game,
right.
and they won 24-17. And OU got outrushed 313-67. And of course, OU had a couple fellas named Mixon and P. Ryan. Huh? This game.
That's
It's
crazy.
like crazy. Absolutely crazy what can happen in this game, guys.
They could fix some of the defensive bust, and there were 2 or 3 of those. I understand they could fix those things, but what worries me more is getting the holes TCU was blowing open up the middle. And if that happens against Texas, that's trouble.
Craig, thank you so much. Appreciate it, okay?
You bet, Trey. See you, Al.
See you, Craig.
Craig Humphreys, you can listen to him at 9 a.m. every single day, Monday through Friday. All right, Al, before we talk about this game, I want you to give me a score. What do you think is going to happen in Stillwater?
All right, I just think Oklahoma State's better. I'm with Craig. I think Oklahoma State wins it, maybe 28-14.
Okay. Al, you've been to a lot of these games. Tell the OU fans they got a chance. Silence.
If Gabriel plays, they do. If Dylan Gabriel plays, they got a chance. But let me tell you what, they need to fix the defense. They need when something is broken, it needs to be fixed. So I want to see what they try to do if they do different things on defense. We talked about the offense and what Levy got to do defensively. They got to do something to get a pass rush.
Did you just say doo-doo? I love
doo-doo.
when people say doo-doo. They do doo-doo. I love
Doo-doo.
it. Okay. So give me a score. You give me a Gabriel score and a non-Gabriel score.
Non-Gabriel score, I'm going to go 35-10, Texas.
Okay.
Gabriel, I'll go 31-21.
All right, very good. For people that don't know, I'm picking OU to cover the game. I'm going to go in the neighborhood. I'm going to go something like I'll go 37-30. And I got it at 9.
So
That's
you
why.
think Gabriel's playing?
No, I think they're going to do some crazy stuff, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know what's going on. I think he probably should be playing if he's doing all the things we're hearing, but whatever. Hopefully his head is okay. That's probably the most important thing we don't talk enough about. Mr. Matt Meyer, tell us, please, what's coming up.
We're going to hear from Brent Venables coming up next, then Matt Ravis from 11 to about 12:30 or so. We'll have a game day edition of the Ravis Island, and then we will begin pregame coverage in Stillwater with Gideon Hamilton and Rashawn Woods. They'll be outside Eskimo Joe's to preview Oklahoma State and Texas Tech, and then we'll have football feedback immediately following both games, both OU Texas and OSU and Texas Tech. So we'll have lots of time to take phone calls and tweets and text messages after both ball games today.
All right, sounds good. The only place, remember, we're the only radio station in the state of Oklahoma that does pre- and post-game shows for both OU and OSU. We're the only ones. Not to mention you can get us live online when we're doing it all, YouTube, our app, or at sportsanimal.com. Countdown to kickoff, Bud Light Game Time on the road, driven by Eskridge Lexus. We're live in the RV General Store Sports Animal Mobile Studios. A lot more coming up. Brent Venables next. This is the leader in sports.